right, fifth graders, we are now going to be reviewing something that I love to teach, and that is distance or text structure. We're going to be learning it distantly as we continue our online learning, and I know I've already touched base with you guys on what text structure is and the 5 different types of text structure, but I have taken a resource that I normally have my students work on. It's a flip book that you're given. It's a big paper copy, and all of these pages you would receive, and you'd get to color it and design it and everything else fun like that. But since we do not have that ability right now, we're going to be using the same resource electronically. So we are going to be working on identifying different structures that an author uses when they create types of nonfiction writing. So an author will typically follow one of the 5 text structures, and the 5 text structures are description, compare and contrast, order and sequence, problem and solution, and cause and effect. Now I know we've already gone over these structures. We've talked about the definitions of each one, the visuals that go with it, and the different clues that go with the different text structures. So this is going to be a review, but in each one of these videos, there's going to be a total of 5. In each one of these videos for text structure, you are going to be given a visual cue, signal words to look for. You are going to be given a reading passage where I will help you identify what signal words are used. You will be given an additional reading passage where you have to identify the signal words used. We will then work on creating a writing passage using that text structure. Then last but not least, you will have to write a passage using the text structure that we're learning about. So there's going to be 6 slides total for each one of our text structure videos. In today's video, we are going to be learning about description. Now, description text structure, the definition is that the author provides several details of something to give the reader a mental picture. And a visual that I want you to think about is, here's the main idea of the topic, and then the author is going to give you different details that will describe that topic that's in the middle. Okay, so we're going to have a topic. Let's say the topic is spiders. The author's going to give you different details and descriptions of what a spider has and what a spider belongs to, like families they belong to, things like that. And then clues that an author is using the description text structure is if they use a lot of adjectives, characteristics, and examples of the topic they're talking about. So for this text structure, again, this is another visual. Here's our topic and all the details supporting or additional information about the topic. Some signal words that we may find in a description text structure are, for instance, for example, in addition, to illustrate, moreover, another, furthermore, to, also. And it's important to note that signal words are not always used in description structure. There can be a lot more words used to let you know that it's a description text structure, but you also have to take a step back and ask yourself, when an author is using description, okay, what is the topic and how are they providing additional details about that topic? Okay, so I'm going to start off by going over and reading with you guys a passage on a description text structure. And then since I'm doing this electronically, instead of highlighting or circle signal words, I've created these lines right here that I'm hoping we can use to underline the signal words electronically. This may work, it may not work. We'll kind of play around with it, but hopefully we can use these instead of underlining. All right, here's our passage. And while I'm reading, I would like you to look for different signal words that are used in this passage. Here we go. There are several genres of fiction books. Realistic fiction books are not real, but the plot of the book could really happen. Tangerine by Edward Blore is a realistic fiction book. It is about a visually impaired boy in middle school who loves soccer. Historical fiction books are set in the past and are often based on events that really did occur in history. Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry by Mildred Taylor is a historical fiction book about a black family living in the 1930s who faced discrimination. Science fiction books are set in the future and they usually include scientific reasoning. The Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins is an example of science fiction. Action-adventure is another genre. These books are suspenseful and action-packed. The 39 Clues series, written by several famous young adult authors, fits in the action-adventure category of the books. These are just a few of the genres available on library and classroom bookshelves. So we have to take a step back and ask ourselves, what is the topic? What is the topic of this text? Well, as I'm reading it, I'm realizing the topic of this text are different genres of fiction books, different types of fiction books. And the details about that topic include realistic fiction, historical fiction, science fiction, let's see, what are other action-adventure? These are all different types of fiction books and genres of fiction books. So that tells me the author is explaining this information to me in a description passage or description structure, because the passage is about different genres of fiction books, and then it lists different genres of fiction books. So I'm going to use these little lines, and I'm going to underline a couple of signal words that I read in this passage. And one, for example, I read was, let's see here. I know I read it somewhere. Oh, is another genre, because I know the word another is a signal word. And then another signal word in here is, let me see. There are several genres. I'm going to say several genres because it's talking, although it's not an exact signal word, this is telling me that they're going to be talking about different genres of fiction books. So I'm going to use those two as my signal words. Down here it says, highlight or circle, or I'm sorry, describe below what makes this paragraph a description structure. So I'm going to type the topic of this passage is different genres of realistic fiction books. I know that it is a description structure because the author describes different genres of realistic fiction books like historical fiction, science fiction, and action adventure. Okay, so that right there is going to explain to us why this is a description text structure. Down here in my next passage, we are going to have you guys look at reading this on your own. And what I want you to do is I want you to do the same thing that I did on the first one. And I want you to underline signal words that are used. I think I have. There we go. I want you to underline signal words that are used in this paragraph. And then I want you to write below what makes this a description structure. Okay, so you're going to do this slide on your own. Just like what we did together here, you're going to do on your own right here. Next, I went and created a passage that I wrote using description text structure. I'm going to read my passage to you. It says, there are 19 students in Mrs. Duncan's 5th grade class. 11 students are girls and 8 students are boys. Mrs. Duncan thinks her class is special for many reasons. First, her students like to call themselves donuts, and that is pretty cool. Also, they never give up and achieve their goals. For instance, many of them are plugging away with online learning and continue to work hard while at home. Mrs. Duncan is so proud of her class. Well, 2 signal words that I used in this writing, I use for instance. Okay, I'm going to use that and underline that right there. Another signal word that I use is for many reasons. Okay, I'm explaining many different, oops, that should not have happened. Let's see. Again, I'm trying to figure this out as we go. Oops, I don't want that either. Ah, it's technology. Okay, for instance, and the other one is many reasons. I guess I can make that a little, oh goodness. See guys, I'm trying. Let's see. Now I'm just going to slide it up. All right. We're all learning with this technology stuff. There we go. These are 2 signal words that I use to help me understand. I wrote this using the description text structure. And then right down here, what makes this a description text structure? The author, which is me, the author is discussing her classroom. I know it is a description text structure because she uses details to describe different aspects of her classroom and students. Okay. So what you're going to do on the next slide is I want you guys to type your own description passage. I don't care what it is on. I've had students talk about a description passage about dinosaurs. I've had them talk about a description passage about roller skating. I've had them do it on dogs. I've had them do it on family structure. I don't care. I want you to write your own description passage. I want it to be at least 5 sentences, 5 complete sentences, okay? I want you to use at least 2 signal words, okay? Underline your signal words, and then I want you to type below right here, I want you to type what makes this a description structure. So this is a long video. I'm trying to speed it up here. Review real quickly. We are learning about the different nonfiction text structures. This video is on description. Here's a visual cue to look at. Here are signal words that allow us to identify that the passage is using description text structure. We read a passage together. I underlined different signal words. I explained why it's a description structure. You now have to go read this passage on your own. I want you to underline 2 signal words that were used. Then I want you to identify what makes this description and type your answer right here. I compose a description paragraph. I underlined 2 signal words. I also identified what made a description. Now you have to write your own 5-sentence paragraph using 2 signal words, focusing on the description structure, and then writing why it is a description text structure. That is what I'm having you do, and I'm going to post a YouTube video on here as well, just because I love sharing this text structure video with you. That is it for our learning today. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I can't wait to read your writing.